Hi, this is Dr. Christensen and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to address one of the most common questions I have regarding sourdough, and that's how to keep your sourdough starter going. The first thing you need to understand, as we've talked in the previous videos, is that your sourdough needs to be kept fed. It needs to be kept happy. I joke with people, but kind of seriously, you have to love it. You have to sing to it. You have to praise it. And if you do that, your sourdough will be happy. The question is, what if you have to leave for a week, a month, an extended period of time, and you don't have the opportunity to feed your sourdough start? Or if you want to prepare in the event that you may lose your sourdough start and have a backup. And so this is what I recommend, and this is what I do. I will simply dry some of my sourdough start out. In the old days, the old miners in Alaska, they would use the sourdough as they would make it as chinking for their cabins. So they would fill in the cracks of their cabins with this sourdough start to keep the wind from blowing in. And if ever they lost their sourdough start for whatever reason, they would pry some of that chinking or that sourdough they've wedged into the cracks of their cabin and use that to start it up again. This is kind of what we do. And so what I simply do, and I've got pictures that will be displayed here, I simply make a batch of sourdough that I've mixed and spread it out on a tray. Once it's spread out on the tray, I let it dry. Two options is letting it dry directly on the tray. The other is to put it in a dehydrator and let it dry at a very, very cool temperature, about 95 degrees. And so this is what I've done. I've dried it overnight, and I've got my sourdough start here that's dried. You can see that it's dry, it's crisp. You can still see some of the bubbles in it, but this is preserved. And once it's added to water, it will come right back to life. And so that's one of the premier ways to do it. And so to revive this, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a chip of this and I'm going to add it to some water. And so I'm going to add it in here. I'll crumble it up a little bit. You don't need that much. You can see that, and that's going to be plenty. And so I'm going to add some water. I'm going to let it soak for an hour or two, and that will soften it up. That will release it. And then what I do is I simply feed it as I would the regular sourdough. I'll add some fresh flour to it and let it sit for a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, depending on how long it takes. I will be feeding it at least once a day during that. So even if it's not bubbling the first day or two or even three, have faith, it will come back to life. One of the things that we did as an experiment is we dried some sourdough start and we freeze-dried some sourdough start. And I set them side by side. I fed them again to see which one would come back first. And surprising, the dried on the cookie sheet or the dehydrator came back about a day or two faster than the freeze-dried sourdough start. And so technology is great, but it's not always necessarily the best. If you want to know how to feed the sourdough start, check out my video right here or here, or wherever he's going to post it. And I think that's all we have for today. Enjoy your sourdough. Be sure to check out our other YouTube videos. We cover a myriad of different things, from making your own sauerkraut to allergy elimination treatments to making chocolate. All kinds of things there to build your health. And be sure to subscribe and share with your friends.